and we welcome you to game number 4 of the 2020 Concordia Invitational Tournament. If you're just catching up with what day 1 has to offer, whew, wow, we're out of breath.
30 minutes ago, we just saw absolute electricity was flowing through this gymnasium in that last game between CUC and CUW. That was a fantastic game to watch.
The Falcons won that game 48-46. They'll be moving on to take on the Nebraska Lady Bulldogs in tomorrow night's CIT Championship. While the CIT Championship has the Nebraska men's team in it, they await the winner of what we're going to have out behind us here in the Concordia, Wisconsin Falcons and the Concordia, Chicago Cougars. The other scores to note from earlier regarding to how we're getting to where we're going to be for tomorrow. We mentioned the Falcons, the women's side of things, winning 48-46 over the Cougars. The Lady Bulldogs defeating the Ann Arbor Cardinals 74-49, and then the men Bulldogs, after them earlier this afternoon, defeated the Cardinals 79-57. Now, when you look at it on the side of things for the Cougars and the Falcons, we talked about this with the women's game earlier in our open for that one. These two teams saw each other 10 nights ago, and it was the Falcons that really had the upper hand in that one.
And indeed they did. They ended up winning the game 83-67, and it was a game where the Cougars came off a hot streak a couple games beforehand, getting really excited. 2 games before that actually set the program record for most threes hit in a game. Kind of a heat check in this game against the Falcons when we saw them play last, and now they're going to be coming back into Concordia's home gym of Geisman, and they're ready for some redemption for sure.
Cougars so far on the season 6-9 overall, 5-6 in Northern Athletics Collegiate Conference play, while for the Falcons, 9-6 overall, 8-3 in conference play. It's another NAC showdown on this Friday night. We'll get Carter's key players to watch coming up next. We'll take a short timeout and get you set for the final game of day 1 of the CIT next here on CSN. To the Geisman Gymnasium, alongside Carter Gledhill, Ryan Fay with you. Carter, who are your players to watch for as we have the final contest here on day 1?
Well, we're going to be looking first off at the CUW Falcons. Reigning CIT MVP in Jordan Johnson's coming back into this game today, and he's going to be someone to watch out for sure. He's averaging 16.3 points a game, and recently this season he joined the 1,000-point club for the Falcons, and he was a key factor in the Falcons' win over the Cougars the last time they met, scoring 27 points. Other players to look out for are Brandon Keller and Jared Jers. For CUC, big man Zio Golding, who's been an athlete for the Cougars all year, is going to have a critical role tonight in their win. The Leslie University transfer has averaged about 11.5 points a game and has shot 43% from the field. And let's not forget about the star-studded number 1, Rashawn Amos, who has been carrying this team ever since a little hiccup in the middle of the season. In his last game against the Falcons, he went 17 points for 2 rebounds and 2 assists, and he's going to be critical for this Cougars offense if they want to beat the Falcons.
And as we get set here for tip-off between the Cougars and the Falcons, again, Chick-fil-A is a proud sponsor of Concordia University Chicago Athletics. Whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, Chick-fil-A in Melrose Park has you covered. Chick-fil-A, eats more chicken. And again, if you're just tuning in for this nightcap here in the Geisman Gymnasium, you heard, if you were with us for the 3rd game, when the women took the action, Cougars and Falcons, you heard how loud it got for them. And that was only a prelude to what we're going to have for the introductions for our final game of the night. It doesn't matter that we're starting a little later than what we usually would for those usual 7 o'clock tip-offs or 6 o'clock tip-offs that we had here. It's going to be roughly after 8:30 p.m. local time here in River Forest, but nobody cares because it feels like a regular 7 o'clock energy game no matter the time right now.
And if you look right here, too, we've seen a lot of energy right now, but you've got a great shot of Geisman Gymnasium there as fans are already starting to pile into the top bleachers, reaching all the way back up to where the batting cages are in the 2nd level. So they've expanded the seating here. It's about to get crazy again in Geisman.
As the final half-second ticks on down, we'll once again be turning it over to the public address announcer and Jim Egan for our starting lineups for both teams in just a couple of moments. And fans, if you're looking for a place to relax following a big Cougar victory, head on over to Doc Ryan's on Madison Street as they have all of your post-game needs covered. The head coach, Steve Kohler, in his first season with the Cougars. Sean Cassidy, the head coach for the Falcons, in his 13th season with the program. They're 8-3 in the NAC. Cougars are 5-6. To the public address we go. Here's Jim Egan.
Welcome to Concordia University, Chicago, and the 69th annual Concordia Invitational Tournament. Our final first-round game of the day, the men's contest between the Falcons of Concordia University, Wisconsin, and the Cougars of Concordia University, Chicago. Let's meet the starters. First for the Falcons. At guard, a 6'3" sophomore from Sheboygan, Wisconsin, number 2, Jared Jost. At guard, a 6'5" junior from Oak Creek, Wisconsin, number 12, Zietlow. At guard, a 6'3" junior from West Bend, Wisconsin, number 14, Pam Flowers. At forward, a 6'7" sophomore from Plymouth, Wisconsin, number 15, Brandon Keller. And at guard, a 6'6" junior from Cedarburg, Wisconsin, number 24, Jordan Johnson. The assistant coaches are Dan Miller, John Payne, and Patrick Doherty. And the head coach of the Falcons is Sean Cassidy. And now, here are the starters for the Concordia Chicago Cougars. At guard, a 6'2" senior from Braidwood, number 12, Neil O'Donnell. At guard, a 6' senior from St. Louis, Missouri, number 1, Rashawn Amos. At guard, a 6'3" senior from Windermere, Florida, number 0, Zio Golding. At forward, a 6'4" freshman from Olney, number 10, Brent Hatton. And at forward, a 6'5" sophomore from Chicago, number 34, Landon Gladney. The assistant coaches are Matt Kearney and Jordan Foster.
So there you have the starting lineups for both teams. We'll reset it once again. Jared Church, Joey Zietlow, Camden Flowers, Brandon Keller, and Jordan Johnson for the Falcons. And for the Cougars, Zio Golding, Rashawn Amos, Brett Hatton, Neil O'Donnell, and Landon Gladney. The head coach, Steve Kohler, for the Cougars. And for the Falcons, Sean Cassidy. Our officials for tonight's matchup, Davi Garrish, Troy Boardman, and Mark Koshersky. Falcons in the blue, white trim, white numbers and letters. Falcons in the, or I should say Cougars, in the white jerseys, maroon trim, maroon numbers and letters with the yellow outline along those numbers and letters. We finished 3 games. We still got 1 more to go. Carter, do you still have a voice?
We'll see. This is good. Depending on how crazy this game goes, we might see if I have one, but let's keep in mind.
And you've got 4 more tomorrow, my friend.
I've got 4 more tomorrow.
Take your cough drops and anything to recover your voice.
Yep. Cough drops. Got some good tea.
There you go.
You get some good tea. There you go.
Brandon Keller at 6'7" at the tip for the Falcons, number 15. And number 34, the 6'5" sophomore, Landon Gladney at the tip for the Concordia Chicago Cougars. The winner goes to the CIT Championship to take on CUNE. And off we go here in the Geisman Gymnasium. Jared Jers, the sophomore from Sheboygan, Wisconsin, averaging under 7.5 assists a game. And we start with an alley-oop dunk to Brandon Keller.
Way to put an exclamation mark on the first basket of the game, where if you're the Falcons, pretty much silence the Cougar Crazies for a little bit, but don't be sitting around too long because this Cougars team is a high-powered scoring offense.
Rashawn Amos to the right side now to Gladney. Gladney in the paint. Backs out. Shot no good, and the rebound controlled by Brandon Keller. Keller, the leading rebounder on this team, and averaging just over 7 a game. as Zietlow controls the flow. Flowers. Almost a bad pass, and he actually recovers it, that being Flowers. Jurst, left side, guarded by O'Donnell. Pull-up shot for two. Side of the rim, no good. Rebound to Gladney. Falls to the floor, but O'Donnell recovers for him. Now the other way, to the right corner. It's Golding. He goes for three. No good, and the rebound controlled by Jordan Johnson, the junior from Cedarburg, Wisconsin. The leading scorer at over 16 points a game. Inside on the baseline, no, missing the shot. There was Keller. He cleans it up, though, with an offensive rebound and put back, and a quick 4 points for the Falcons.
Yeah, quick 4 points from Keller right there, too. Almost tried to go for another dunk, but again, just getting his own rebound and going back up with power again.
O'Donnell with the handle. Belt tie, right-handed dribble to Zio Golding. Golding. Bounce pass, cutting in on the baseline is Amos.
What about that great court vision there from Golding, seeing that Amos cutting across the baseline. Great job by Amos, though, seeing that the Falcons gave him the baseline and took it for the nice layup.
Amos guarding Jers there. Keller leaves it off now to the left wing as it's there for Johnson. 11 on the shot clock as he leaves that one off for Keller. Flowers with 6 on the shot clock. Flowers blossoms in for a layup.
Little too easy there for him, going in there to get the nice layup. Something you don't like to see if you're the Cougars, especially if you're Coach Kohler.
Golding to Amos at the top. As now it's Hatton, who's a 44% shooter on the year, off the glass too strong. Ball is poked out and then taken by Johnson. Jordan Johnson trying to feed it in, intercepted by O'Donnell. It's a 2-on-1. O'Donnell, Amos, 3-ball, money.
How about that, though? Amos realizing he doesn't have the height advantage and is kicking it out.
Oh, and a block by Gladney. Welcome to the block party, Brandon Keller. You've got an RSVP courtesy of Landon Gladney, and the Cougar Crazies are roaring.
Jumping out of their seats right there. That was insane play by Gladney. Way to hustle back and denying Keller of that dunk.
Inside the free throw line, jumper good for Johnson. That's his first bucket made on his first shot attempt. He's now got 2 points to go along with those 2 rebounds he's had before that shot, as Isaac Rudell is getting set to check in at the scorer's table for head coach Steve Kohler. Amos, right side drive, baseline there, pass for Gladney, who scores.
And how about that, Landon Gladney? He was out for a while with an injury. You can see how much he's meant to this offense. Coming back, almost 16 points a game. That's something huge for the Cougars.
Off the left lane drive, it's Zietlow, the junior, who averages just over 12 points a game. Makes it a 10-7 contest here early on. Hatton looking to tie for a moment. He goes in. Baseline for Gladney again. Boy, those baseline cuts have worked wonders early on here.
And it's been both ways, as 16 of the 19 points we've seen already have been in the paint. It's going to be, if it looks that way, it's going to be a really physical game.
Another back cut. That's short on the shot there by Zietlow, as Resnikoff and Jackson Gaddy get set to check in, as O'Donnell stops in the paint. Finds Gladney. Nice move inside. Short on the shot, though, and the rebound poked out for Amos. Hatton wide open for 3. Doesn't get the roll. Ball still loose on the floor, and it's picked up by Jers. Now Johnson pulling out for the left wing 3.
And you see the man right there celebrating. That's the 1,000-point club member in Johnson, and he's going to be a very tough force to stop if you're the Cougars.
Ball working around the perimeter as Gladney has it. He's got the 4 early points that have come in that little spurt, as Amos, who's got the other 5 for the Cougars. Golding looking to get on the stat sheet for a shot. That's way off. And that rebound there by Keller.
You see Golding, though, not afraid to take those shots. Even though he shoots under 30%, he will make them.
And not afraid to take a long-range 3 is Camden. Flowers, and just like that, it's a 7-point lead for the Falcons. Golding for O'Donnell. Now it's Gladney. Gladney working that baseline area again. 10 on the shot clock. As he picked up his dribble, he needs some help. Finds Amos. Amos, pump fake, 4 on the shot clock. O'Donnell's got to look up at the clock. Throws up a heave 3, but that's going to be way off. And an air ball as Zietlow brings it in. Jers, left lane drive, left hand layup, counted in the foul.
You see there though, Hatton looking at his teammates like, where's my help? He gave him the left side of the lane right there and he had no backside help. And you just see a really easy layup there for the Falcons.
Timeout Concordia, Chicago, as Jackson Gaddy, Isaac Rudell, and Charlie Resnikoff are coming off this timeout. Slow start for the Cougars, who are 4 of 11 shooting. It's an 8-0 run for the Falcons. 10-2 overall the last 2 minutes and 23 seconds of play. While the Cougars are 1 of 5 from downtown so far. Your opening impressions?
Fast start. That was fast start all around. Explosive just by both teams. I mean, coming out of nowhere, you see the Falcons open the game 8 for 12 from the field. How about that? They've just been pushing the pressure, opening with that alley-oop dunk. That was pretty impressive. But Cougars have to find a way to slow the game down a little bit and take the energy out of the Falcons.
So far, the Falcons 8 of 12 from the field. 18 rebounds, 2 team assists. Have yet to have any fouls in this game so far. As now back at the line for the and one opportunity. It'll be Jared Jers, the sophomore from Sheboygan, Wisconsin, a 73% free throw shooter on the season. And he makes it. Double-digit lead, 19-9. Cougars have yet to hold a lead so far as we played 5.5 minutes in. As now Gaddy on the baseline, bounced it out of bounds. He wanted Rudell in there in the left corner, but inaccurately tried to get the pass in. Jers now into the front court, leaving this one off for Johnson. Zietlow. Right arc three is up. That's short off the hands of Flowers, and Rudell gets the rebound. Amos driving. Amos scoring.
Nice arc there by Amos Lynn and high off the backboard to avoid the block. But great body control in the air too.
Keller now for Johnson left wing. Drives inside, kicks to the right corner. That's a Zietlow 3 ball, and it's good as he shouts back over to the Cougar Crazies who are trying to distract them. Jackson Gaddy, the freshman from Louisville, Kentucky, leaves it off for Rudell. Into Resnikoff. Spinning in, shot up, off the glass and in.
What a veteran move there by the transfer. He's looking really good right there as he controlled himself and put on a very NBA-like move.
And that is a charge! Resnikoff laying it out as Flowers gets caught.
We talked earlier with them actually between breaks in the den when we were getting food, and I asked them, Charlie, what's one thing that you guys got to do in order to stay in this game? And he said, doing the little things. You can't control the shots of the other team or yourself, but doing the defensive things right, hustling for every 50-50 ball, that's what's going to keep us in the game. And you can see already he's getting pumped up in only a couple seconds that he's already been in.
Also mentioned that he told us that his dad has one of your highlight quotes of the season so far saved, I believe, on his phone, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if that's officially true. I know he's here in the audience tonight, but maybe we can get confirmation on that for another broadcast for Cougars basketball. As Resnikoff leaves it off for a golden three. That's no good. Gladney tried to get a tip rebound, but to no avail. With it now in control is Antoni, number 21, who just checked in. Right corner three, that's no good. And the rebound to Rudell. Alex Antoni, the 6'8 junior from Sheboygan Falls, Wisconsin, is going coast to coast. Had it blocked away. And coming the other way is Jordan Johnson. To the right corner, Zietlow around the screen, behind the back, in the paint, shot, count it, and one.
What a fancy set of moves right there that he put on.
Foul on Rudell. That'll be his first. And that'll be the team's second. As Gladney comes out. O'Donnell's now back in. We saw O'Donnell even in the game against Illinois Tech last Saturday get early foul trouble. That limited his minutes out on the floor, and that loss to the Scarlet Hawks in NAC action last weekend, 8 nights ago. Jackson Gaddy into the front court. Now for Zeal Golding. O'Donnell calling the play out in front with 18 on the shot clock. Rudell with 8. Rudell for O'Donnell with 5. O'Donnell around a defender. Nice feed to Resnikoff.
Great job by O'Donnell avoiding the charge setup in there and just laying it off to Resnikoff. Resnikoff off to a hot start here, bringing the energy.
He's got 4 points, a perfect 2 of 2 shooting-wise so far. Johnson raises it up for 3, in and out, no good. And a tie-up, and who's it on? It's going to go the other way. It's going to go on the Falcons. That's going to go on Alex Antoni, the junior.
You see there Resnikoff getting in position, though, using his body, even though he doesn't have the size on Antone, who is 6'8", he still is able to block out.
Nicely done by Resnikoff as Rudell has the handle. Falcons still lead by 10. Concordia Chicago 1 of 6 from behind the three-point line. As Rudell loses it, trying to hustle for this one, but it goes out of bounds. It's Lake George, the senior from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Hatton will have the inbound. O'Donnell for Resnikoff. Being an Energizer Bunny with 3 on the shot clock. It may have been blocked. As now coming the other way, it's Zietlow. Lost it for a moment. And now it'll be Johnson to settle it down. Tavares Williams getting set to come in as this long 2-step back is good for Jordan Johnson, the reigning CIT MVP from a year ago.
And he's proven his point as to why he was the MVP, and you could see that move that he just put on the defense right there. But the space he created too, that's something great.
Hatton into the paint, stopping, out for Rudell. Work quickly to Amos for 3.
Amos now a perfect 4 of 4 from the field, 2 for 2 from behind the arc. He's hot right now.
He's got a game-high 10. As now at the top of the circle, it's Antoni. Stopping there with Zietlow, gets inside towards the elbow. And now back to the top with 10. Isaiah Tannett is also out there. Tannett at the top. Resnikoff winning on the fake. Free throw line jumper no good. Tip, offensive rebound, and putback is good for the junior Alex Antoni. And we get a tie-up after the bucket. And I think it was just an inadvertent whistle. And it looks like that's all it is. So now Gladney and Williams come on in. Resnikoff and Rudell come out as Jers comes in for the Falcons, replacing Joey Zietlow. Again, inadvertent whistle there after the basket, so just be a regular inbound here for the Cougars. As it'll be Neil O'Donnell to bring it ahead, the senior product of Reed Custer High School down in Braidwood, Illinois. A 36% shooter on the season is O'Donnell. Hatton has it with 13 on the shot clock. Inside, Gladney lost the handle, but got it right back to recover and score.
Great vision there by Hatton at the top of the key, reading the defense there and seeing Gladney was wide open, and great job by Gladney recollecting himself and putting it up.
George now with control. Off to Johnson. Johnson's got 7 points so far. Trying to spin around Hatton. Trying to kick out to the left corner and does for George. He lost the handle. It is an over and back.
And you see there the excitement already. It's going to take the little things like that to get the Cougar Crazies back in the game. But great defense there by O'Donnell, and the pressure too, just overall by Gladney as well on the backside.
O'Donnell will secure it. 8:50 to go in the first half. O'Donnell, right side, picks up his dribble for Hatton, who fakes a three. Goes inside, around a defender, too strong on the shot. Williams, the offensive board, had it for a moment, then it's poked away by George. Now it's Tennett, up ahead for George. Nice move inside and scores. Amos, Hatton, left-handed shot for three. That's no good, off the side of the rim. And the rebound controlled by Antoni, who's now got 4 rebounds. Or excuse me, 3. Jers spinning around Williams. Baseline pass to George, who will try to get some space and come back in. Feeds it out. 3-ball up, 3-ball good. That's a Jers 3. Timeout, Steve Kohler. There'll be a full timeout on the floor as the Cougars now trail by 14 with 7:58 to go in the half.
But they're doing everything right. They're pressuring them on defense. It's just the Falcons are knocking down their shot. 4 or 5 from the field in their last 5 possessions, and they're on a 5-0 run right now in the last minute and a half. It's really going to be hard. It's something that the Cougars have to figure out how to stop the offense. As we talked about, every offense that's entered the gym today has been fast-paced, hurry up. Now it's just got to take a step back and relax and figure out how to slow them down.
You look at some of the stats here so far in the game in this first half. Concordia Chicago shooting 42%. You wouldn't think that's so bad, but the difference here is that the Falcons have been making their threes. They're 4 of 7, while Concordia Chicago is just 2 of 8.
But also look, too, they're 63 from the field, and with that, too, a lot of those shots are in the paint. 18 of their points are in the paint, and that's something that they've been good at, and you've seen the height that they have as well.
Cougar Basketball is brought to you in part by Lutheran Public Radio. Listen to sacred music anytime and anywhere at lutheranpublicradio.org or on the LPR app. And you look at this great shot from our wide camera up top. It is filled to capacity here at the Geisman Gymnasium.
And they're packing it in here in Geisman because they know how special CIT is, and you can definitely see the school spirit that Concordia has brought, as well as the Falcons of Wisconsin bringing in their own student section too.
Dwayne Burns Jr. now is onto the floor for the Cougars off the timeout. It's Burns, Amos, Golding, Resnikoff, and Williams for Concordia Chicago, while it's Tennett, Jers, George, Zietlow, and Antoni for the Falcons. Amos, who had that hot start, he's got 10 points. He's 4 of 4 from the field, 2 of 2 from downtown. Golding in for Resnikoff, who had a nice burst of energy early for this team. Is blocked from behind by Antoni. Ball still alive. Williams, he had it for a moment. And then 2 players tumble down. Williams and looked like that was Jers that got tangled up with their feet. Incidental contact, and Williams even went with the my bad towards him. Now Kenta Jones will step onto the floor. The senior versatile guard for head coach Steve Kohler now stepping onto the floor for the first time here tonight. Isaiah Tennett, the senior from Sacramento, California, as Jers inside. That's a travel. Now Rudell and Flowers come in for the respective squads as Williams and Tennett come on out.
You mentioned Kenta Jones as a versatile guard, and that's really the reason why he's in the game right now for Coach Kohler. He's been a really versatile guard on the offensive side. He's also one of the best defensive guards that we've seen in this Cougars team throughout the season.
So Jones now brings it ahead. 7:15 to play in the first half. Jones almost had it poked away, and Jones will get awarded as he got fouled, and it's going to go on Joey Zietlow, and that's his first and the team's third. It'll be Burns to have the inbound. At the top, Jones was open, and he gets it. Now to Rudell. Resnikoff to Burns. Burns with a burst of speed on the baseline, misses, but Resnikoff cleans up the mess.
Resnikoff doing what he does so well is getting in and doing the dirty work. Great job in the second chance point there by Resnikoff, who's having a pretty hot start right now with 6 points in the game.
Jers ahead as Jers is going to gain free throws as Burns will be called for the foul. Jers is 73% free throw shooter on the year. He's 1 of 1 at the line so far here tonight. He's got 6 points, 2 rebounds, and a couple of assists on 2 of 3 shooting. As the first of 2 here is good for number 2. Brandon Keller now comes in for Antoni, who's going to check out. Antoni, 2 points, 4 rebounds, and a couple of blocks in 6 minutes of action. And 6:47 to go here in our first half. Second free throw good. Now a 14-point lead for the CUW Falcons. Resnikov into Golding. At the top, it's Resnikov. Resnikov spinning his way, and he traveled.
See Coach Kohler there telling Resnikov to just settle down a little bit because you know he's excited and want to make the plays out there. But at the same time, too, you're not going to win this game just by one possession like we just in that last possession. You got to work the offense a little bit more because you are down by 14, and you got to get back in multiple possessions, and you're going to take quality shots, not the turnovers that we just saw.
Burns with a little backcourt pressure there against Jers. Jers spinning in to the right corner. Zietlow, 3-ball, no good. And the ball is rebounded in the end by Jones. Jones for Resnikov. Now it's Rudell. Rudell. He walked. That's near back-to-back travel calls against the Cougars as Amos now comes in for Rudell. And Steve Kohler giving a little bit of a talk to Rudell, talking about his spacing inside, it looked like. As now Jers leaves it in and weaving his way through 3 defenders. Brandon Keller, the sophomore. Wow, what a pretty move.
That was a pretty move, especially because he avoided 2 potential charge calls right there, but it's a part of that just weaving through right there. Great job.
Jones up now for Golding. Resnikov, top circle 3, way off the mark, and the rebound to Zietlow. Zietlow for Keller at the top, 20 on the shot clock as Keller looks to work inside, instead goes to the top for Jers. Jers, alley-oop is a layup and good for Joey Zietlow, and it's now an 18-point Falcons lead. Jones with a bit of a angry dribble up into the front court as Amos for Golding, baseline jumper is way strong. Didn't get anything there as Johnson gets the rebound. As the shooting woes now continue for Concordia Chicago. It's Zietlow on the baseline. Kick to the right corner. That 3-ball is nothing but net for Camden Flowers. Timeout Concordia Chicago. And it's now a 21-point Falcons lead.
And it's been a game right now, as you can see here on the replay. Falcons drive on the baseline, and then you get Flowers in the corner open for 3 because they were worried about the post, because that's where they've been dominant all game. And now they got the shooting down. It's been a game where it's hard for the Cougars to get anything going on the offensive side because they've struggled so much on the defense.
So far, the Falcons are 5 of 9 from downtown, while Concordia Chicago is just 2 of 9. Points in the paint also favoring the Falcons 22-14. And another thing, too, is that we haven't seen Concordia Chicago get a lot of second chance opportunities because in the defensive rebounds department, the Falcons have owned it 13-6.
Other thing is, too, it's been a kind of like a burst of energy we've really seen only from the Cougars. We've seen little glimpses of the offense that we've seen so many times that's been so high-powered. In home games this year, they're scoring about 90 points a game. But tonight, they're just not finding their stroke from behind the shooting arc. And you can't rely, if you're going in the way that's been working for so long, it's partially because you're trying to replicate it now, but you have to slow down and work your offensive game just a little bit more because in transition right now, the Falcons are too much.
Just over 4.5 to play here in our first half. Amos, the leading scorer for Concordia Chicago with 10. Zietlow in the same numbers as well for CUW. As Jones. Off now to Burns and Amos. Are you surprised we haven't seen many touches here from Amos offensively since he's been back in?
No, and Amos, too, at the same time. He's been locked down because the Falcons have been doing that great job, but they're also not giving him the ball because they're trying to force shots on the Concordia side.
5 and an awkward baseline angle. Bucket is good. Kind of took the crowd by surprise, too, Dwayne Burns Jr.
First points of the year, Dwayne Burns Jr. We've been rooting for him for a long time, and I'm happy to see the kid get in the stat book with the point.
Jers to the left corner. Thinking about that three was Zietlow. Jers will think of a three, execute on the shot, but miss it. And Resnikoff, the one-handed rebound. Jones to Resnikoff, who bounced it off his own face. It's a 2-on-1 the other way. It's poked away by Amos out of bounds. It'll stay with the Falcons, but nice hustle coming back is Rashawn Amos.
Not letting any easy baskets go. If you're Rashawn Amos and this Concordia team, every little bit of energy you can grab for the rest of this half is going to be important because whatever happens now, this is going to dictate what's going to carry over into the next half.
Jers on the baseline inbound. That one tipped off the hands of O'Donnell. So now they'll have the inbound right in front of the Cougars bench. And we're glad you're with us as we begin to wrap up day one of the CIT. Again, the women's CIT consolation and title have been set. Ann Arbor versus Chicago in the consolation, and Nebraska versus Wisconsin in the championship. On the men's side of things, Nebraska also in the championship, and they await the winner of this one. And a foul as O'Donnell was pushing it the other way. That's going to go on Flowers, and that'll be his second. And just as I mentioned, the Bulldogs, both programs making the respective CIT championship games. One thing both those programs have in common is they will force you in any which way to turn the ball over.
Oh my gosh, we were watching the women's game, and Ann Arbor ended up having almost 40 turnovers in that game. It was unbelievable, and we haven't even seen that on either side of a men or a women's game throughout the year. But it's, again, the aggressive gameplay that they have because they're just going to full court press you as much as possible, and they're going to trap you and make you uncomfortable.
74-49 was that final in our first game that we had between the women of CUNE and CUAA. Mentioned Concordia Ann Arbor having 49 points. They had 42 turnovers.
That's insane, and that's something that obviously you can't win in without, but it was just odd offense right there, but it was just overall fantastic game from the Bulldogs. It's going to be exciting to watch that championship game tomorrow between them and the Falcons.
Johnson with that last bucket as Gladney answers right back with a layup of his own. Jers now into the front court as we now have under 2:45 to play. O'Donnell with the defense there on Johnson. And that's going to be a foul on O'Donnell. That's going to be his first, and that's the team's fifth. And O'Donnell explained to the official there, he's like, hey, here's what happened, and I get why you called it, but look out for me next time as well. Jers with the baseline inbound. He gets it right back, tries to wheel inside. It's poked away. Haddon will give it to O'Donnell. O'Donnell saw some space, but then it was quickly closed out as it goes into Gladney. Gladney to Amos for another three. He's 3 of 3 from downtown.
And you see how effective he is if he's in the offensive scheme, but then really for some reason it was just all chaos beforehand, so it's got to be something that they incorporate definitely in the next possessions because Amos has the hot hand right now for the Cougars.
Off the glass, shot missed. O'Donnell the rebound. O'Donnell pushing the floor to the hot hand, and Amos leaves it off for Gladney. Gladney, underhand lefty shot, no good, and the rebound to Keller. Jers, guarded by Amos as he brings it ahead. 1:45 to go in the half. Johnson, he's got 9 Off now to Zietlow. Zietlow with 8 on the shot clock. With a nice fake, and the floater shot is good.
You see Zietlow, he's been pretty tricky around the whole night, putting on some fancy moves with that pivot. Probably one of the best ones I've seen tonight, though, is faking the pass and then pulling up in a nice little floater in.
O'Donnell. Back out to Golden. Now it's Amos. Amos for Gladney inside, off the glass and in.
Not just the glass, how about almost the top of the backboard right there from Gladney.
And Gladney has got 10 on 5 of 8 shooting as we now have under a minute to play. Off the glass there, but cleaning it up from the miss on Johnson's side of things, it's Jared Jers.
And that's just backside, not boxing out or being ready to rebound. You see Amos there was just, like we said so many times, rebounding the ball instead of blocking out the man.
O'Donnell with 35. Amos to Hatton. It's Amos again. He's a perfect 5 of 5 from the field as he leaves it up for Golden driving. Golden with a strong move, but he is fouled going up for the shot. And that's going to go on Brandon Keller. And for Keller, that's going to be his first, and that is the team's 5th. It'll be a shooting foul as Golden's at the line. Golden, a 64% free throw shooter. Former product of Lesley University. As Golden's first free throw is in and out. I mentioned the Cougars being 3 of 10 from downtown. All 3 of those threes have come from Amos. Golden's 0 of 3 from that area. Hatton 0 for 2. O'Donnell has missed 1, and so has Resnikoff. Golden for 1 more. In and out again, no good. So the first 2 free throws of the game for Concordia Chicago are misses. Shot clock is off with 15. Jers over to the far side for Zietlow. Now with 10. Jers. Oh, and a nice feed inside, threading the needle, getting that one to Grant Karsten.
That was just great court vision by Jers, seeing Karsten coming around.
As that half-court shot wouldn't have counted anyway as it misses. And the Falcons go to the locker room up by 20, and you get one more look at that feed inside. Talk about a tight window to feed that one in. They feed it nevertheless, and that is how the first half comes to an end. Falcons lead 51-31. We'll take our halftime break, get you set for second half action in a little bit here on the Cougar Sports Network. Band performing here. The bands of all 4 teams have made the trip to the CIT as everybody's having a good time. Even Carter's having some fun.
Everybody loves Neil Diamond. Everybody's got to love Neil Diamond.
You know what? You really can't go wrong with it. He's Carter Gledhill dancing along that you can't see on camera.
Probably a good thing.
Well, yeah, I would agree. I'm Ryan Fahey with you as we get set for the second half of play. 51-31. The Falcons have the halftime lead. And, you know, Carter, when we look at it from a numbers perspective here, it's not that really Concordia Chicago has shot overall bad. They're 45% from the field. But one of the things that we've seen from the Falcons is just they've been getting into this scoring burst, and Concordia Chicago just hasn't had many answers off of some big-time shots.
And exactly that. They've been controlling the paint, though. The Falcons, 28 points in the paint to Concordia's 18. It's really been that they've just come off with a fast start. They've kept in pace the whole game, and they really haven't let off the gas pedal. Despite the little bursts of energy we've seen from the Cougars, it just seems the Cougars haven't really had an answer for the Falcons' offense today.
And with that Falcons team, they're shooting 60%, 21 of 35 from the field. So not only are they getting their buckets to fall, but they're being very efficient about it as well.
And efficient indeed. They're taking quality shots. They're not forcing anything. And we see a burst of tempo. They're either going to slow it down and run a play, or they're going to beat you down the court and get you in odd man situations in the free pass. So it's really been exciting to see that. And the Cougars are going to have to answer with the same kind of intensity in the second half to come back from this 20-point deficit.
With that intensity being said, Rashawn Amos is a perfect 5 of 5 from the field, 3 for 3 from downtown, 13 points. I mean, I think if you're Concordia Chicago and head coach Steve Kohler, you got to keep feeding the hot hand coming out of the locker room.
You have to. You have to get your team back in play. So what are you going to do? You're going to find your playmaker in Amos, and you're going to keep feeding him. And if you can't feed him in the outside, you're going to find Landon Gladney in the post because he has 10 points today, and he's been a really big addition to the Concordia team that he's been when he was absent with the injury, and he's been something that's added value to the Concordia offense in the post.
The winner takes on the Bulldogs of Concordia, Nebraska tomorrow night in the CIT Championship, while the loser plays the Cardinals in the consolation game. While the women's CIT title has been set, the Concordia Lady Bulldogs taking on the Concordia Wisconsin Falcons, and the Falcons, we just had that thrilling game a little bit earlier. 48-46, the Falcons defeated the Cougars. And the Cougars then will take on the Concordia Ann Arbor Cardinals in the women's CIT consolation game that'll take place tomorrow. As both teams get set back out onto the floor. Out on the floor for the Falcons to start the second half. It'll be the starting five that started this game off. Jared Jers, Joey Zietlow, Camden Flowers, Brandon Keller, and Jordan Johnson. And the same goes for Concordia Chicago in their starting unit. Zio Golding, Rashawn Amos, Brett Hatton, Neil O'Donnell, and Landon Gladney. And a note that we got at halftime, we mentioned how loud and crazy it is here inside the Geisman Gymnasium all day, and perhaps the same is going to be said for tomorrow, and I would expect nothing less. As the shot clock, I don't think, started right on time, so they'll have to adjust that accordingly. A record sellout attendance tonight, 2,116.
And they've really packed it in there for that number, and you can see even right there that whole student section of the Cougar Crazies just packed up all the way to the top pretty much, filling it with maroon, and tomorrow it's going to be all gold.
As Golding, as I try to make that play on words there, as he misses the shot. Gladney, the offensive rebound, though, and the shot clock are reset to 20. And inside driving, Golding recovers and redeems himself for a second half opening bucket for CUC.
That was a great control of himself right there, controlling the ball. Also, too, doing the pump fake to get the Falcon defender off them and create more space for him to drive into the paint.
Jordan Johnson, elbow jumper, no, his own rebound, yes, and a foul on Gladney.
Hard foul Johnson just took there by Gladney going in for the block.
It's the first on Gladney, first team foul of the half here. I know on the scoreboard says 10, now it's over at 1. I was going to say, it's really quick to get the double bonus.
Oh, yeah.
So Johnson at the line. 9 points so far. Make it 10. He's now made his first free throw attempt of the night to go along with 6 rebounds. He's 4-7 overall shooting tonight, and he's a junior guard who averages just over 16 points a game and is a 79% free throw shooter, and he makes that one there. He was the 2019 CIT MVP and had 27 points 10 nights ago against this same Cougars team. As O'Donnell leaves it for Amos. O'Donnell again. O'Donnell circuits it to the right corner for Hatton, driving, baseline, scoring.
And Hatton's such a dual threat player. You can see he faked the shot because that's what he's known for is the 3-ball, but nice job there doing the pump fake, blowing past the defender and going up for the layup on the baseline. Really the baseline's been where the Cougars have been able to get inside the paint for the Falcons past their defense the whole night. They got to keep using that kind of offensive play.
And you remember, too, how Gladney had some good baseline success offensively in the first half, too, that we saw. That's what really kind of got his shot going as a nice move inside against O'Donnell was Camden Flowers. But again, just to kind of go back to what we were just saying about, the baseline work and a bad pass there, that's going to be a turnover. But really, you mentioned how that's been working to most success here for this Concordia Chicago offense, but you can't always rely on that.
You can't always rely on it because the Falcons' defense will adjust, and if you keep pounding the baseline as that, teams are going to go up. Hold on, let's see this.
Here comes Landon Gladney, and he's fouled, and he'll be at the line for 2. The foul there goes on Keller, so Gladney will be at the line for a pair. His first free throws are coming now. Gladney, a 83% free throw shooter on the season. So he is efficient at the line. Mentioned him averaging just over 16 points a game. And since you mentioned Cardi was out with injury earlier in the season, he's averaged just over 12 points a game since coming back from it. as his first free throw here is no good. He's the reigning NACC Freshman of the Year. Had 11 points in the loss at CUW 10 nights ago up in Wisconsin. As Gladney now gets set for his second free throw, down by 20. And it is up and no good, so he goes 0 for 2 there. And the rebound to Keller. Jers to the left side, finding a nice back cut there and staying with it nicely with Zietlow as the feed to the near corner for Camden Flowers is a successful three.
Flowers with the hot hand tonight from behind the arc. Now 3 for 5 with 11 points on the night. It was just a great way to stay with the ball there and just kicking out Flowers, shooting in the corner.
Amos, he was feeling it in that first half. His first miss of the night there. And that's going to be a foul on Gladney as he reached over trying to get that offensive board. And that'll be his second. Make that the team's second of the half as well. Another thing, too, with some of these tip rebounds that we're seeing, as this is a long two that is a pull-up for Joey Zietlow. But there's even just some bounces as well that just haven't gone the Cougars' way in this game, as Gladney with a nice step around and scoring. Now it's Johnson. Has space, left side lane drive. Count the basket and the foul for Jordan Johnson. And he now has 13.
It's been almost a quiet 13 from Jordan Johnson. He's really hasn't been making this big shots behind the arc or anything. He's just been doing the nitty-gritty and just making quality shots. And that's kind of the thing when you see from an MVP kind of caliber like you do from Johnson.
The and one is good. 62-37. As Charlie Resnikoff now comes in for Zeo Golding. And if the Falcons are to hold on here after regulation finishes, it will be a clean sweep for the Falcons and the Bulldogs programs here in day one as Resnikoff gets nice feet inside and scores. Again, later on, as we wrap up later, we'll set the table for how tomorrow is going to look in terms of the schedule. We know who's in there. We've got the 4 teams mostly set. One still to obviously finish, as that layup inside is good, and it's now a 24-point lead. Gladney now to Resnikoff, and it's Amos. Amos inside, bounce pass, Gladney, baseline jumper, good. Again, both consolation games of the men and women's CIT will be the first part of the 4-game slate tomorrow. As this right corner three is good again. Camden Flowers feeling it from outside.
And he's been hot tonight, now 4 for 6. He's just been kind of sitting in the corner. The Cougars got to keep looking out for him, and they got to take note of that.
As Gladney scores to counter back. Concordia Chicago women will take on the Cardinals of Ann Arbor tomorrow at 12:45 in the consolation game. As that three is well short, but the reverse second chance is good from Joey Zietlow. And then the loser of this game as Resnikoff for 3, that's in and out, no good. We'll take on the Cardinals tomorrow at 3 o'clock as Gladney gets the bucket. Timeout, Concordia Chicago. While the Women's CIT Championship will have the Falcons of Concordia, Wisconsin taking on the Bulldogs of Nebraska, as you see the Gladney put back here on the second chance. And then the men's side of things for the championship at 7:45 tomorrow night. It'll be CUNE taking on the winner of this one between either the Falcons or the Cougars.
All those games tomorrow are going to be fantastic matchups no matter what. I'm already excited for this CUC game tomorrow. That's going to be a great matchup between a team that just came off a tough loss today, but they started to find their groove at the end shooting-wise, and then an Ann Arbor team that's going to have a lot to prove after getting really blown out against Nebraska and also turning the ball over 42 times.
Full timeout on the floor. 70-45, the Falcons have the lead. And again, we mentioned here, as we take a look at some of the recent tournament history, Concordia, Wisconsin is the reigning champ on the men's side of things. They won it a season ago. While on the women's side, it has been very one-sided since 2014, and head coach Drew Olson and the Lady Bulldogs. On the men's side of things, coming into CIT, the Bulldogs are 85-51, while the women are 74-18. Both Nebraska schools have a combined 56 CIT championships, 27 for the men and 29 for the women. They'll be looking to add on to that tomorrow night and afternoon. As we come in off the timeout, it'll go to the right arc for Jers. Swung to the opposite side for Johnson. That one, nobody home, but it's last touched by the Cougars and out of bounds. 13 on the shot clock. And you talk about the women's consolation game tomorrow between the Cougars and the Cardinals, that with the Cardinals having 42 turnovers, and we all know what the Cougars like to do, as they're one of the best teams that force turnovers as well that we've seen so far this season in the NEC.
Yeah, and you know, it's going to be an exciting game for sure because of the fact that the Cardinals are going to have to play another team, like you mentioned, that really likes to force a turnover.
As Hatton's three is no good. And the rebound to Jers, or excuse me, that's Zietlow. And quickly in, Johnson's layup is good. Jackson Gaddy inside the free throw line to counter and does. And that's his first points of the night. Oh, this Falcons team that averages 79 points a game, piling it on Camden Flowers, another three. He's now 5 of 8 from downtown, 17 points. Gaddy to Hatton, quickly Resnikoff. He wants a three of his own, that won't work. That ball is out of bounds to the Falcons. Golding and Gladney now coming on in as Hatton and Amos come out. Sean Cassidy in his 13th season looking to go to the CIT championship once again. His 13th season, 210 wins, 126 losses. As Jers lost it for a moment, faces a double team in the far corner, and a foul on Jackson Gaddy. Couldn't see in that far corner there, Carter, what the foul was, but
I'm looking at the mascots right now. You're looking at the Falcon and the Cougar getting at it a little bit, a little friendly.
And even the CUW student section is cheering for the mascot. Not even paying attention to the game as Johnson scores for them. Got a little friendly mascot rivalry, too.
There we go. Mascots always enjoying CIT as well.
I think we may have found some in-game entertainment on the next time out.
Uh-huh.
Jackson Gaddy now lost the dribble. It'll be a foul on Flowers. As Flowers picks up the foul, that's going to be his third. He comes out as Isaiah Tennant now comes back in, the senior from Sacramento, California. A 30-point Falcons lead with just over 13 minutes to go. Gladney inside. Gladney, turnaround shot. That's no good. The offensive rebound and putback is not good by Golding, but he's fouled, and he'll go to the line. Foul on Jers, and that's going to be his first.
I can't stop looking over there in the corner. You got Charlie T. Cougar over there going out with the side. If I read that first, it says, "We did Concordia first, 1864, when Concordia Chicago was founded."
That is a...
I've seen some really good signs today. I've seen some really good signs.
We had the Nebraska Shucks.
Nebraska Shucks. I've seen probably the best sign I saw
I think that one takes it, though.
No, there is another one. There is in the student section. Oh, we got another sign over there.
Well,
I don't know. We got a basketball game we got to worry about, too.
Golding's free throw is good, as Dwayne Burns Jr. is now coming on in. Oh, they hit the poster.
Whatever.
We tried to get the shot of it too, and then they put it down.
Dang it.
Come on, Falcons.
I think the best sign I saw up in the corner over there was a sign that says, 2 things I like more than CUC. It said student loans and Sodexo. And for the people that know Sodexo, it is the dining service of CUC.
All right, let's not touch on the dining service now, because that can be a fine line for some people. So
I love me some good food, though.
Oh, of course. I mean, we were down in the den earlier eating as well, getting our grub on. As Jers will have the inbound. And we didn't even see a lot of signs in the Falcons student section, but they'll get up and roar instead for a Zietlow dunk.
Little smile extra there for Zietlow for the camera. He had one position right under the basket there.
Golding, inside, turnaround shot. That's good.
Nice little fadeaway there for Golding.
Into the front court now, Zietlow again. He's got a game-high 18. Him, Johnson, and Landon Gladney for CUC all have 18 points. Nice move inside, and Zietlow's got 20.
And Zietlow's really been making his whole game and points really just in the paint. All these like dribble and drives that we've seen. He's quick, and that's something that's going to be that he's been doing really well to this game.
Gaddy makes the 2 there. There's 5 players in double figures for the Falcons. Well, Gladney's got 18. Amos on the bench with 13 right now. As to net, trouble there by Gaddy. Almost had the 5-seg roll, but the paint is wide open for Jers, who now has 12. And it's now a 31-point lead. Golding picked up his dribble, but he gets the shot and the foul.
Golding there, though, really being aggressive there, and something we've seen, call him an athlete. I really think he is. Not even like a guard or whatever you want to call him on the street. He's an athlete because he does so much for the Cougars team. And there, he acted as the big man and was just powering it up through the middle of the contact.
Tavares Williams is now into the ball game. Golding at the line for the and one. Lake George now checks in for the Falcons, as Jers now will take a seat. Golding for the and one. He misses it, and Tenet gets the rebound. I still really want to know what that mascot sign for the Falcons said. As Burns gets the steal, comes the other way. Defense to offense.
Ooh, look at that from Burns. Nice little moving in the air with him, controlling his body too, but also controlling the ball. That's one you see there that usually gets poked out or you lose control there, but Burns holding on.
Numbers the other way, inside, and a foul on Williams as Antoni was trying to feed it away. As the foul for the Cougars and Williams, that'll be his first, or excuse me, rather second. Golding comes out, O'Donnell is in. And assuming this result holds, boy, that is going to be a fun championship game tomorrow with the Bulldogs and these Falcons. And, of course, you and Sam Brief will have the call all day Saturday. All the games you'll have, all 4 of them. Of course, I still can't get over that we did Concordia first sign that the mascot had and the little mascot beef as he's walking around still with it.
Charlie T. Cougars always having fun here, guys.
Oh, of course. And that one, Burns pokes it away and steals it. Off to Gladney. In transition, Gladney scores.
And you can see just Gladney absolutely pushing back to net as he was trying to defend him, and that's just something that he's been so good, and the size advantage there is just really helpful for him.
Burns, another steal. Burns having a career night. I haven't seen much of him this season as Williams for 3, that's short. Burns the offensive rebound. Gladney on the baseline. Kick out, O'Donnell, 3, yes! And a little life into this Cougars offense, Carter Gledhill.
And you see the Falcons converging on Gladney because he's been doing so well tonight. And then O'Donnell at the top of the key for the 3. Nice kick out by Gladney.
And now a timeout call by the Falcons. As you get one more look here at this feed to O'Donnell, who nailed the three.
Yeah, see, that's just a quality look there from O'Donnell, and Gladney having the great backside vision there, seeing all of the court and seeing all of his options instead of throwing up a shot that's going to be contested.
And fans, whether it is close or far, Chicago Motor Coach has your group transportation needs covered. Chicago Motor Coach is proud to be the official transportation provider of CUC Athletics. And of course, this broadcast is also brought to you in part by Lutheran Public Radio. Listen to sacred music anytime and anywhere at lutheranpublicradio.org or on the LPR app. This is a 9-0 run that the Cougars are on the last 92 seconds of play. As Gladney here is 10 of 14 tonight with 20 points, and he's made 6 of his last 7.
He's looking really good right now, and, you know, it's exciting to see him back. It's going to be exciting tomorrow, too, just to see him in the competitiveness. Especially there's a lot of height on both teams, and if we said the result holds, Ann Arbor's got some height, and we got big old Paul Ziskin there, the 6'9" center. That's going to be a good matchup.
And you got to see with him, too, that, I mean, he was so limited in that game against the Bulldogs. He was the main thing we talked about on our open for that game. He was really nowhere to be found through that 40 minutes.
And we said that their offense is run through the post.
As O'Donnell's three is no good.
Zisk was 1 of 7 from tonight, only 2 points. And that's something we usually don't see. But he was also, you mentioned, so effective from shooting in his career, setting the new career in a single season for his shooting last season as a junior, and to see the senior struggle today, it's going to be something to see if he can flip around tomorrow.
He was 59.9% from the field his junior year, which was a program record. As now back to our action here. Jers leaves this one off now for Antoni. With 2 on the shot clock, that three's no good off the hands of Zietlow, and O'Donnell gets the rebound. Zietlow's got the game-high 22 as Gladney inside that was short on the shot. And the rebound there to Karsten. Jers now. As it's a 24-point lead, 9.5 to go. And Amos got hit in the jaw, it looked like, and that's an offensive foul. That's going to be on George, as it's going to go the other way now. You mentioned Wayne Burns, who... Now, we haven't seen a lot of him so far this season, but I talk about it as a career night because 4 points, 2 of 3 shooting, a rebound, and 2 steals. And he had no points in his career coming into tonight. And, you know, he's having a great night, and we've always said he's my fan favorite. I love him. Yeah, and it's exciting to see him get up in there in the points. He's got 4 points, as mentioned, and a foul on the floor as Amos tried to wrestle that one away, as sitting on the court there was Antoni trying to secure the possession. And now with that being said, on that 7th team foul on Amos, the 1-1 bonus will take effect with 9:12 to go. It'll be Antoni to shoot it. He's a 60% free throw shooter on the year. He's yet to attempt one tonight. A lot of time here to get this free throw set. A lot of time. Antoni now for the first on this 1-1. If he makes it, he gets another. And there you go. Antoni, the junior from Sheboygan Falls, Wisconsin, a 48% field goal shooter on the year. That second one's in and out, and Gladney gets the rebound. And that's now his 3rd to go along with 20 points. As Kenta Jones now in. Amos for Burns. Amos at the top for Jones. 11 on the shot clock. Amos inside. Amos, left-hand shot, no. Ball still loose, and then a foul is going to be called on Williams as we'll go back the other way. And that's the team's 8th. And now with these fouls accumulating and the bonus in effect, now this game's really going to slow down. It is going to slow down. You're going to get a lot more free throw shooting, obviously, because you're in the bonus. But it also just is going to take a lot of time, too. And now the Cougars, I would just say run. You got to run your offense. You got to get ready for tomorrow against Ann Arbor. You have to perfect your offense because that's what was struggling today. So run through all your plays. Really work on your shooting because it's going to be another game that's going to be challenging tomorrow. Brent Hatton now is also into the game. As the first of the 1-and-1 there by Lake George is good. He's a 48% free throw shooter. As he just made his first free throw of the night. Second one is no good. Amos gets the rebound. And a timeout called by Steve Kohler and the Cougars. 87-61 Falcons, 8:45 to go. And if you're looking for a place to relax, found a big Cougar win, head on over to Doc Ryan's on Madison Street, as they have all of your post-game needs covered. Of course, the alum party, I believe, is taking place over there after this game, if I'm not mistaken. As now the cheerleading sections for both teams will come out here for some in-game entertainment. And Carter really in this game, I mean, you look at this, 87 points for the Falcons, 63% shooting tonight.
That's a fantastic number. And you see it's just been clicking on all cylinders for the Falcons tonight, and there's been no stopping them.
Head coach Sean Cassidy has to be loving what he's seen. This is a team that averages 79 a game. Well, they've well been beyond that average right now. We still have 8:45 to go. Also a team that averages allowing 77 points. And what's crazy is their season average shooting from the field is only at 47, and I mentioned them at 63 already.
It's something that we've seen, but I guess, Geisman, we said today, we've seen so many crazy things today. It's going to be a crazy championship game tomorrow between them and Nebraska.
And, of course, that's still unofficial until we had triple zeros on the scoreboard, but it would take a Cougar miracle for the ages to come back down by 26. Of course, can't rule anything out here in sports, more especially when you wear a headset calling them. Although it does not look good odds-wise for the Cougars, as Jones for Hatton. Now Amos into the paint, and a foul. Shot's not going to count, as the foul is going to go on George. And that'll be the team's fifth, or rather sixth. So now, next Falcons foul puts the Cougars in the 1-and-1. Gladney off the inbound, and he throws it away. And Carter, you can just tell that throughout this game, just nothing can really stay in sync for this Cougars team, whether it's offensively or defensively.
No, because the Falcons have really had an answer for everything. You can put it together a really well-developed offensive possession on the Cougars side of it, and all of a sudden you get the Falcons coming down and scoring a quick three, and then they get a steal off the ball, inbound play there. It's just something that it's really uncharacteristic that we've seen tonight of a Cougars team that hasn't had the same offense, and it's kind of been a boom-bust we've seen each game too, is they either have the energy or they come out a little flat, and they came out a little flat early, and that's what's dug the hole tonight.
What a recovery there by George. Lost the handle and his balance to that as well, and still got the ball as George. Left lane drive, off the glass, no. Offensive rebound there by Johnson for a moment, as Jones will speed away with it. It's Jones. Coast to coast, short on the shot, and it is still alive and off of Johnson. I mentioned the field goal percentage a moment ago. 55 was the season high against Edgewood for Concordia, Wisconsin back on December 7th. So it's been a while for this Falcons team since they've been this efficient. And rather their best efficiency, I think, overall this season. As we approach 7.5 to play. Jers in for Johnson. Great feed. He's blocked by Burns, who then ends up actually getting called for the foul.
A great job by Burns there on the backside help. You've seen that you had the trailer there and just getting up there. Little man getting up on the big man and almost had the block.
That's going to be Burns' second. And if I have to look at the numbers for Burns here in a moment. Mentioned his first 4 collegiate points have come here tonight. And I think in terms of minutes, I'll pull this up here in a moment. Is this the most minutes he's played so far in a game in his career? Well, I'll look at that in a moment and get back to you. As this second free throw by Johnson is good. And again, he did not appear that being Burns in any games his first 2 seasons here. His career high in minutes, by the way, is 13. That was against Trine, and we had that game earlier in the season here at Geisman Gymnasium. Because again, it's been limited opportunities for him as Jones' shot is short. Resnikoff, his offensive rebound and putback is good.
Resnikoff in all the right spots tonight, and you see another second chance point there on the rebound.
As Jers, from right to left, hands on the dribble, shot in and good. And he flexes after that one. It's 91-63. And now for Jers, he's got 14 and a quick answer by Amos the other way. Amos now with 15. But I think, as you mentioned, with the games that we're going to see tomorrow, both on the men's and women's side, they each have intriguing matchups to go with, as that's a nice aggressive drive by George. Because if you look at this all-around shooting display from the Falcons, and if it carries over to a Bulldogs team that really can have your way on the defensive side of things, that is just a recipe for some great basketball.
It's going to be a great game, and all games in CIT are great games just because of the competitive level that we've seen. Even in the previous 3 games, we've seen great defense, great team shooting, and then we also seen the exciting plays. We even saw an alley-oop in this game to start it off, and that was exciting too.
That was the first basket of the game.
I think we've checked off everything in CIT today. I think you and me have seen everything.
And that's just day one, as Jones's 3 is rolled out. And a whistle and a foul on the floor. Resnikoff is going to go to the line, as the foul there is on Alex Antoni. That'll be his 3rd. Burns now is going to come out. So that for Burns is 1 minute short of the career high he had against Trine at 13. He exits with 12.
But let's just say, I'm super happy that he did get on the board now. New career high of 4 points. Happy for him.
In now is Brandon Persinger, the senior from Reedsville, Wisconsin. He checks in, replacing Grant Karsten. And you have to think the benches may start to empty out here pretty soon for both sides with the score that we have right now and how much time is left. So both free throws good there for Resnikoff. Double team in the backcourt as George, guarded by Amos. Now George will settle it down. And it's now to Juris. Juris, 14 points, 8 assists, 3 rebounds. He averages 7 a game. So he's beat that mark, as inside, it's kicked down to George for another 3.
You want to notice something, too, that we haven't said too much. The conference leader in 3-pointers, Isaac Rudell, has not attempted a shot tonight. So that's something, too, that's really been key for the Falcons in their success tonight in eliminating a huge part of the Cougars' offense, as Rudell had 56% from behind the arc.
And that leads the conference.
And that's probably the limit why we've seen the Cougars struggle from behind the arc tonight. 4 of 18. It's because you couldn't even get your big guy who's been leading the team in the conference in threes, the ball behind.
And this is eerily similar to what happened for the Cougars against Illinois Tech 8 nights ago over on the south side of Chicago, where this is an offense that averages just under 82 points a game. And to credit to Illinois Tech, that game, and of course their big man in Max Nizataki, who may be one of the best big men in the conference, if not all Division III. As quickly the other way, a turnaround steal is good. Gabe Bruce, the freshman, getting some time, now gets his first bucket of the night. Amos looking to quickly answer and does. And for Amos, he's now got 17 on 7 of 9 shooting. Not a bad offensive night for him, but of course that's only a small subject line in how this game has played out. Gladney, of course, with 20, as inside again. Bruce missing the shot, as Resnikoff gets the rebound as we approach 4 minutes to go. Rudell, he double dribbled. And you mentioned Rudell. He has not taken a shot tonight. And he's gotten the touch on the ball in offensive possessions quite a bit. It's just a shot selection for him to try to take just hasn't been there.
And it's not just a shot selection for him tonight. It's been the Concordia team. When you get down early in the game, they started forcing the shots that we usually don't see. They started taking fadeaway shots, and they were moving away from the basket rather going towards it when you're struggling and you need to get towards the basket. But you've seen Amos has been doing that all night. Oh.
George wanted a monstrous throwdown. It's still in the possession of the Falcons, though. As now to the far side it goes. It's Tanette. And we'll get a whistle and a foul. 3:39 to go, 98-69. Garrett Hoffman is also now into the contest. The 6'3" junior from Belgium, Wisconsin, as the first free throw there for Tanette is good. Now Jackson Gaddy will come on in. Also Sawyer Conklin is going to check in as the benches now really begin to empty. So Conklin now in. We mentioned Garrett Hoffman, the 6'3" junior for Concordia, Wisconsin. Some of the guys who may not be getting regular rotation minutes now start to come on in, and that's now a triple-digit 100. It's broken our score bug, as it's now a 31-point lead.
69-10 Cougars right now.
What a game!
What a game. What a game.
Jackson Gaddy. It goes over to the right corner. Childers for three. It's good! Cougars looking for any kind of positive news there. Childers with his second three of the season made, and a double dribble by George. Now Jaron Gaddy's going to come on in, brother of Jackson, and the brothers are now out there together. Nice little moment here for the Gaddy family.
Indeed. We got another sign over there that says, "Have no fear, number 3 is here."
And that's in honor of Sawyer Conklin, who just checked in.
There you go.
Jackson Gaddy, turnaround shot, that's good. So even with Concordia Chicago getting near their average in points per game, that's really not going to be the telltale story of how this has gone.
No, and you know, the average really for them on allowing their opponents have only scored about 84 points a game. But you can't just give any credit due where it is. The Falcons have been absolutely phenomenal tonight in the shooting department.
It's going to be a jump ball call. It'll stay with the Falcons. Chad Abadessa is now also out on the floor for Concordia Chicago. Ben Parker now is going to come on in for Jackson Gaddy. So there goes the Gaddy brother moment.
Plenty of those to come in the next 4 years for those two.
At the top now, it's over to Hoffman. 2.5 to go. Hoffman driving inside off the back of the rim, no, and the rebound goes to Conklin. The junior guard bringing it ahead. Jaron Gaddy leaving this one off for Abadessa. He's only attempted one shot this season. It was a miss. As this three from Childers is no good. Tipped up and a whistle and a foul. We're going the other way, as that's going to be on Ben Parker. (100-74). We'll be speaking to head coach Sean Cassidy after this one concludes. Double bonus here now the rest of the way. First one is good, and with this essentially being said that both Cougars teams will be taking on both Cardinals teams and both Bulldogs taking on both Falcons. I mean, each consolation game has its own, something to play for, at least for the Cougars here, trying to get a W here hosting the CIT. While if you're the Lady Bulldogs, you want to win 7 CIT titles in a row, as Abadessa's floater is short, gets his own rebound to the top. It's Jaron Gaddy who airballs a three, and the rebound to Tanette. While if you're the Falcons that you see on the floor here, you want to repeat as champions.
And that's something that you're going for, and maybe we even see Jordan Johnson go for a repeat of the MVP. But you mentioned
Can't rule it out.
No, you mentioned the consolation game. Almost not even consolation games. You just label that because of the tournament, because of the matchups we've seen and the competitiveness. It's going to be a great matchup either way.
That's going to be a block foul as Off the feet from Jacob Lord, who's now in. Foul there is going to go on Ben Parker, so he picks up 2 quick fouls in his timeout there. 93 seconds to go. I mean, besides the results not going in favor of Concordia Chicago's way, I mean, what a 4 games we've had here today.
It's only day one. It's only day one. It's been a fantastic
atmosphere. You going to be okay for tomorrow?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. You know,
I'm just going to go with yes. I think you'll be fine.
Either way, it's going to be a lot of fun. You see, Geisman was packed. You mentioned over 2,100 people were here, and it's just been a phenomenal atmosphere here. And especially, you're going to remember, all these players are going to remember this, especially for Concordia. It's their one time in their career they're going to have it.
I'm going to remember this day being here, that's for sure. I know Sam Brief will have the call tomorrow, and of course, I wish Sam a tremendous 4 games on the call tomorrow for him. Along with you, he gets to deal with you for 4 more games. As inside Havadesso, he almost went for the shot. Instead, Conklin will do it instead. He's short on the 3. As we now have a minute to go. To net. To the right side, off the glass. Short on it, though, was Persinger. But he'll be at the line for a pair on the foul, as it's going to go on Parker. As now Henry Flanagan is on the floor. Or he's going to be coming on the floor for Concordia Chicago in a moment.
The 6'11" big man out of Australia.
That one. Oh, and of course we've been. Now, to all those affected by the Australian fires that have taken place over the country, we send our well wishes out to those affected by it. As Flanagan now comes into the game officially with under a minute to go. Well, this place was rocking all day and into the night. And I'll be honest, I've done a lot of games. This is probably one of the coolest venues in terms of what they've had in store, in terms of crowd noise and energy that I've ever been in terms of ever being on a headset.
And it's CIT, and it's something, like you mentioned, we've said it so many times, the Olympics when it comes to this, because it's meaningful for all these teams. And you can see the school spirit, especially in these smaller schools that don't have the big-time televisions like the D1s. This is their time to shine, and this is their tournament.
Steal there. That came there from Hoffman as his 3 is raised up and short. Lord the rebound, and he'll get it right back over now to Hoffman. Half a minute to go. He'll look to perhaps just drain it as much out as he can. As the Falcons will have a date with the Bulldogs in the CIT Championship tomorrow at 7:45. Again, Sam Brief, Carter Gledhill will have all 4 games broadcasted for you here on CUCougars.com. I'll be back sometime. Don't worry.
Yeah, you will. There are plenty more regular season games, too.
That's true.
Yep.
Garrett Hoffman now makes the free throw. Also into the game for Wisconsin is Michael Kruger, the freshman from North Aurora, Illinois, the local product from Aurora Christian on the western suburbs of the Chicago area. Second free throw there is good by Hoffman. Shot clock is off. 106-74 the score. Conklin over now to Childers, another 3 ball, can't make it. And the rebound to Lord. And they are going to just dribble it on out as the CIT Championship is set. It'll be the Falcons and the Bulldogs at 7:45, while the Cougars will play in the consolation game against the Cardinals tomorrow afternoon. But what a day, what a night inside the Geisman Gymnasium. Sean Cassidy will join me here in just a couple of moments, but your thoughts on this game and this day and night?
Well, Falcons tonight set a new season high for field goal percentage in the game with 60. 5% better than their last one we mentioned earlier on the 7th of December and against Edgewood. So they came out guns blazing. They were ready to play, and you can see that their overall gameplay is going to be a fantastic championship game tomorrow against the Bulldogs.
So the schedule goes as this. The cheer and dance competition will take place before the games of basketball at 10:15 tomorrow morning. The women's game in the consolation part of the CIT tournament at 12:45, the Cougars taking on the Cardinals. And then the men's consolation game will be the Cougars men that you just saw here taking on the Cardinals of Ann Arbor as well. And then the championship CIT games on the women's side, Falcons and Lady Bulldogs. And the same Falcons and Bulldogs on the men's side of things for the men's championship game. 12:45, 3 o'clock, 5:30, and 7:45 are the projected game times for tomorrow. As we'll be speaking to head coach Sean Cassidy in just a couple of moments. As his team having one of his best shooting nights on the season. I know Carter will have to give up the headset for Coach Cassidy, who will join us here in a moment. As now head coach Sean Cassidy will join us here on the post-game show. And, well, Coach, first off, congratulations. You're now back in this position once again. And for your team offensively, it seemed as if you couldn't miss a shot.
It was good to see. I thought we shared the ball very well. And I think that explains why the offensive explosion there.
Yeah, you went 39 of 65 from the field, 9 of 20 from downtown. And we talked about the offensive burst that you guys had. I mean, 106 points. I mean, triple digits in any level. I mean, that's, nothing short to be not proud about.
Right. Well, we haven't scored a whole lot of points this year. So we've been mostly a defensive team. So it was good to see a couple guys hitting open looks and even more so just creating for each other.
And on the defensive side of things, too, Isaac Rudell, who's been a known three-point catalyst for this Cougars team, he didn't even take a shot tonight.
Well, I thought our defense was outstanding. We just played each other a week and a half ago.
Right.
So scouting report really stays the same, and they hurt us really bad in the first half last week. So I think we had to make some adjustments, and I was very proud of the way the guys responded.
You mentioned the scouting report from 10 nights ago to now. Going into that game 10 nights ago, was it still the same approach coming into this tonight, even though it's a different environment with the CIT and all the things happening around here tonight?
It's very different. Plus, Landon Gladney hadn't played before,
right?
And so he was kind of a surprise being out there, and we know what an outstanding basketball player he is. And even knowing he was going to play tonight, we still had a hard time stopping him.
And even with your offense putting up 106 points tonight, the wealth was spread around too. You had 5 guys scoring in double figures. And it seemed as if when the ball was touched, it wasn't magnet basketball because it seemed like every player was getting a touch on every possession.
Well, I think that's our strength. It's been that way for the last few years, that we've got guys that can really play together and play off of each other. So when we're unselfish, it's a lot of fun to watch.
I know you just got done with this game here. You're looking to do the same thing tomorrow that you did a year ago and win the CIT. Of course, a tough challenge ahead with Concordia, Nebraska. I know it's the reset button and get ready for tomorrow night, but early thoughts on that one?
They're very good. They're very good. Watching them, I was very impressed with them. We've seen them on film. I've watched their stats throughout the year, and boy, they're just so solid in all that they do. Coach Lembeck's done an outstanding job of developing them from a year ago, so those same guys are just so much better. So let's enjoy this one, and I'll worry about this one in about another hour.
Now, while you're going to enjoy this one, how important is the CIT for even some of the new guys on your team that maybe not have experienced an environment like this? Because even, yes, it's an NACC battle, but it's a lot more than that based on, everything that's going around here for the CIT that happens every year.
Right, and we're pretty young. So fortunately, we had 3 guys that were major parts of the team last year,
right,
even though they're pretty quiet. I don't think you can ever explain this to a new player, what CIT is about. It's a long day. And then they come out here and they see the band, and it's deafening. And the crowd, the CUC fans were outstanding. You guys brought a ton of fans that packed this place, and it made it a great environment.
Yeah, we got the number of 2,116 in terms of paid tickets that filled up the day here. Oh,
that's outstanding. And you can't recreate that to explain that, hey, we had 400 at our gym the other night, and this is what it's going to be like in front of CIT. And so fortunately we had some leadership to help us through those steady things at the beginning of the game. But no, you can't explain this to someone unless they're here.
Right. Now, how cool is it, and I'll let you go after this one, how cool is it that for the university that you got both teams now in their respective CIT championship games going into tomorrow?
Oh, that's awesome. I was so happy for our women's team. I don't know if you could see us standing in the corner cheering the last 4 minutes.
It was loud everywhere.
Yeah, well, we ran downstairs to get our pregame done early because we wanted to be here to support them. And, boy, balls bouncing on the rim. I was as nervous watching the women's game as I was our game. So, and I was probably yelling louder for that one. I was just so happy for them to pull that win out. And plus it's conference. So, after they won, I took a deep breath, and I was like, okay, now it's our turn. But, our ladies just played so outstanding today, especially in that second half, the way they gutted that one out. Our guys were fired up. It's hard not to be fired up, right, but they were so happy for our ladies to win that.
Congratulations on the victory. Get some rest, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
Thank you.
That's head coach Sean Cassidy with us here as we wrap up things on day one of the 2020 Concordia Invitational Tournament. Once again, final score, Falcons 106, Cougars 74. For Carter Gledhill and our fantastic crew behind the scenes, I'm Ryan Fay. Signing off. Sam Brief will be with us for the coverage tomorrow. He takes over me. Sam, if you're watching, have a great call for the 4 games, my friend. I'll be watching along the way as you have the CIT Championship games with Carter Gledhill. For all of us here on the Cougar Sports Network, I'm Ryan Fay. See you tomorrow.